BMI, or body mass index, is often used as an indicator of body fatness. But how is it calculated? The short answer is, in the metric system, weight in kilograms divided by height in meters squared, or in the US customary system, BMI equals weight in pounds divided by height in inches squared and multiplied by 703. But how useful is it? Recent data shows that using BMI to measure body fatness alone can be quite inaccurate for a number of reasons. In this video, we'll discuss this system and the reasons its use has been highly questioned. Somebody asked, we discuss some of the most asked questions on the internet and beyond. If you're really into maths, you can calculate BMI by hand or even with a calculator following the formulas we've given you. But if you don't want to do that, you can search the internet for the multiple online BMI calculators. It's easy and free, but once you find your BMI, what do you do with that information? Traditionally, after calculating their BMI, most people are usually interested in checking this table to see where they classify. Underweight, if their BMI is under 18.5, normal, if their BMI is between 18.5 and 24.9, overweight if their BMI is between 25 and 29.9, or obese if their BMI is 30 or greater. But what does each category represent? Theoretically, having BMI that belongs to certain categories could be an indication of potential health risks. Let's look at some of them. Remember, these potential health risks aren't certainties, only issues sometimes associated with certain BMI categories. We'll discuss the flaws in the system shortly. If you're underweight, your weight is lower than normal. It might mean you are not getting enough necessary nutrients, like vitamins and minerals. You may feel tired often and lack energy, and may potentially have decreased immunity and even diminished fertility. If your weight is normal, you have a healthy weight for your height. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not at risk of health issues. If you're overweight, you may be at higher risk of developing health conditions such as type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, sleep apnea, gallstones, some types of cancer, and bone and joint issues. If you're obese, you have an increased risk of developing the same health issues associated with the overweight category. Obesity is also associated with a reduced life expectancy. In the BMI table, obesity is often broken down into 3 categories. Class 1, mild obesity, for BMI between 30 and 34.9. Class 2, moderate obesity, for BMI between 35 and 39.9. Class 3, severe obesity, for BMI of 40 or higher. Now that we know how to calculate our BMI, the category we belong to, and the potential health risks of each, we need to know just how accurate is the BMI table in estimating our actual risk. Well, the basis of the BMI system was created back in the 1830s, nearly 200 years ago. To say that our lives changed since then is an understatement. From habits and diet to science and knowledge, so much has changed. So many experts believe that the BMI is inaccurate, exclusionary and outdated. Even the creator of the system, Adolphe Quetelet, a mathematician and statistician, never meant for the index to be used for medical assessment. It was merely a study on the definition of what he called the average man. And so the use of the BMI as a key parameter to define obesity is highly questioned. Let's understand how. Firstly, it doesn't assess body composition. By simply creating a ratio between weight and height, the BMI fails to take into account that each human body is different, with different proportions of fat, muscle, water and bone. People with a high percentage of muscle mass, for instance, can easily end up in the overweight or obese categories, even if they have really low body fat, because muscles are more dense than fat. Secondly, the BMI doesn't make a distinction of where the fat is accumulated in the body. Abdominal fat, for instance, can indicate a higher risk for several health conditions like diabetes and heart disease, while hip and thigh fat are much less associated with health issues. Thirdly, the BMI isn't equally applicable to every demographic. Back in the 1830s, in Europe, the creator of the basis for the BMI system used what he had easily available: white European adult males. The data he had available was limited, so there are many types of demographics that don't fit properly in the BMI table. The American Medical Association recognized BMI as an imperfect way to measure body fat in multiple groups, given that it does not account for differences across race and ethnic groups, sexes, genders, and age span. Some experts believe that the formula divides the weight by too much in short people and too little in tall individuals. This results in tall people believing that they are fatter than they really are, and short people thinking they are thinner. So, if you're in the edges of the range, very short or very tall, the BMI isn't accurate enough for you. Now, let's talk about age. The BMI can be an inaccurate parameter for both the youngest and the eldest, especially over 60. After 60, most people have a natural decrease in muscle mass and bone density while still retaining body fat, so their BMIs tend to decrease while the health risks don't. When we talk about gender, the BMI shouldn't be used with pregnant women and can be quite inaccurate for non-pregnant women as well. Generally speaking, females tend to have more body fat than males, and so a woman could be at higher risk of health issues than her male counterpart of the same BMI. And when it comes to race, studies show that the BMI categories should have different thresholds for different races and ethnic groups. Research data points that people of African, Asian, and Hispanic descent have a greater risk of developing obesity-related conditions like high blood pressure and diabetes. People of Asian descent are the most affected by weight gain and should have lower BMI overweight and obesity thresholds. A recent study with Asian volunteers showed that gaining only 11 pounds in adulthood represented an increase of 84% in their risk of developing type 2 diabetes. BMI is also not an accurate index for people with any health condition that affects body fluid amounts like heart failure and severe limb swelling, because these conditions increase fluid retention and water is more dense than fat. And so, even though the BMI has correlation with the amount of fat mass in the general population, it can lose predictability when applied on an individual level. How can BMI be used despite its limitations? The BMI can still be used as a measure of health if it's combined with other data and an in-depth analysis of a person as a whole, considering their lifestyle and family medical history. Additional data to complement BMI include lab exams like blood pressure, cholesterol and glucose, the amount of visceral fat located in the abdominal cavity, waist circumference, fat distribution, body adiposity index, or even body composition, which is the relative proportion of lean body mass composed of muscle mass, body water and bone mass, and body fat mass within the body. Today, specialists are looking to improve the BMI scale by including other demographics and properly setting thresholds according to gender, age, and ethnicity. Some specialists even suggest adjusting the formula. Even though the BMI may not be accurate alone, it is still an inexpensive, scalable, and quick method that can be used as a starting point on assessing one's health when talking to a doctor, but perhaps only as a starting point. As always, thank you very much for watching. If you liked this video, you might also like one of the suggestions we've picked for you. Also, subscribe for more. We upload a new video every week discussing some of the most asked questions on and offline. If you have any questions or suggestions, leave it in the comments. It might become our next video. See you next time.